navigation was interesting for you guys. We saw you leaving the castle in France in fifth place, and then you all of a sudden arrive at the nutcracking detour in first. But then cut to driving to Toulouse, one wrong turn puts you guys behind. What did you sort of figure out was the key for navigation for you guys?
Probably using common sense. so the Toulouse disaster is what I would like to call it.
Uh-huh.
We still have the maps, and E80 is what takes you to that stadium. E72 takes you somewhere else, but the sign says 72 or 72 when it says like Toulouse Center. So if I just look at Toulouse Center or whatever it said and just use some common sense, then maybe I go that way. But I'm trusting of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And on the map, E80 says the stadium, and that's why I was kind of adamant about taking E80. So
Right.
I think that was the only navigational mistake that we made. I think other things were probably the edit. Like we were never lost. We were never lost in Germany, in Munich. And so, yeah.
Yeah, your navigation really did seem incredible. And it was just like this one little, like you said, you were going by the map instead of the sign.
Yeah. So, lack of common sense on my part. And like, I wasn't upset at Michael, but Michael was like, I think we should go that way. And I wish he would have been like a little more assertive with me. Or there were a couple of times where I think he had like the right answer or the right thought, and he wasn't as assertive with it as I think I needed him to be. I think that was kind of our relationship.
Well, Michael's not here to answer this question, but I wonder if you know the answer. When he was doing the family tree roadblock, and we see him like on the grounds looking back at the castle, do you know what he was thinking or how he ended up over there?
So I think Michelle went first, and you saw her go like right next to the board, and the names were there. So Michael actually went in there, and then afterwards he said he thought he was too close, and he thought he needed a bigger view of the whole thing. So then he kind of went like further, where you saw the camera panned him out for like he was like 2 miles away or something. So, but he actually went to where like you saw Michelle. I think I think that's where Derek went, and Maddie. He said he went in there, but then he thought he might be missing something. So that's when he kind of went back out a little further.
Okay, so he wasn't completely lost.
No, okay. He wasn't completely lost. He just lost the keys.
Well, I hate to bring up the 3D art panel roadblock here, but what was the trick to this or the struggle?
No, this is going to sound really crazy because of the position that I'm in right now. I actually thought it was really easy.
Uh-huh.
And so 6 panels, 5 of them are transparent with some artwork dabbled on them. The back piece had some artwork that I never looked at. You knew it was the back piece because it had like a solid background. And so when I opened up the wrapping that all the panels on, and I spread all the panels out, and I was like, oh, this one isn't transparent. This is the back piece. And I put it in, and I never looked at anything else. So as I started putting it together, I think the one time I had a panel reversed on the first check, and he's like, no, I had a panel reversed, and I fixed it. So when I fixed it, I'm like, oh, I am certain this is correct. And then so I asked for a check, and he said no. And so when he said no, like for an hour, I never thought to look at that back piece. I'm like, I just thought there was something in the artwork that I was missing. So I only played with the first 3 or 4 panels. I would take them all out. I'm looking at the panels, and I would slide them in one at a time. I would ask for a check. I would make sure they weren't backwards. I would make sure they weren't upside down. And then I guess, you saw the edit. It kept saying back panel over and over again. I didn't realize that I was putting them back in the same way.
Yeah.
I put them in the way I thought they were supposed to go. And if I'd have known that I was putting them in the same way each time, I probably would have took all of them out maybe a little sooner than I did.
Mm-hmm.
So it was short-sightedness, I guess, or maybe even impatience, right? When I saw the back panel, I just threw it in the back, and I never took the time to look at the little artwork that was on it.
When you do the bend over backwards detour, first off, this seemed super cool when they finally take that arch out and you built an arch. Like, that was insane. That was incredible. How time consuming though was this, and was the key just a couple missing stones, or was there more to it?
I think that was the judges being really cautious. I'm an amateur arch builder, and so I think the arch would have held on the first check, because when we looked at the demonstrators are there the whole time, there were some times where bricks were on brick and they didn't have rocks. So we a couple places, and I thought it was going to hold. They weren't as confident because they didn't do it themselves, understandably. So, but it was extremely time consuming. I think we were there over an hour, but like that didn't cost us the race because we knew before then. Like, reality set in when we arrived in RONDA. We saw Emily and Molly on the roadblock, and where you received that clue, like a wood carver with a workshop desk, and there was only one clue left. So we realized like everybody else has already done with the detour. They've already done with the roadblock. There was one roadblock clue. So reality set in. So it was like, we can do just for success, but I don't think it's enough for us to try to come back. Let's just do something that we want to enjoy doing. So that was kind of conversation to go build the arch.
Okay. Okay. So before you went to the arch, you realized that you were really far back. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes. So we realized it already.
And then you arrive at this last roadblock and you don't see the twins at all here, correct?
Correct. They were gone. So like I said, after you finish the detour, you make your way to the wood carver, and he has the clues like on his workshop. And right below him is where the tightrope is happening. You just go down some stairs and you're underneath the bridge. And so when we saw like Emily and Molly down there doing the tightrope, and this isn't a detour, we still got to do a whole different task before we even come over here. We were like, I think that's it.
Wow. Wow, it's so surprising to see you in that spot. You guys had 4 top 3 finishes. When All Stars calls you, are you guys going to go back?
100%. I mean, well, I'm glad you're speaking it into existence. I'm glad you're speaking it.
Absolutely.
So we can call it All Stars, Redemption, Vengeance, Unfinished Business, whatever.
We saw in this edit that Derek and Claire and David and Aubrey were doing a bit of working together. Do you think that affected your finishing place at all?
I think the things that they were helping each other with, I think either of them would have figured out. This is me speculating. I think there was more strategy in that for Derek. Because, again, speculation, Derek would rather see David and Aubrey and race against them in the final 4 than Michael and I. And so, and I'll be honest, like I had the same thought with another team earlier in the race. I'm like, I think we should work with this team that we could probably beat, but we can keep them in the race longer. So Michael, when I had that thought, I would bet money that was Derek's thought process. Right. Because at that point in time, like David and Aubrey haven't won a leg. And so I think he would rather have raced against them than us.
Yeah, I would. Oh, I don't want to race against you guys. Y'all are so good. Now, were you and the twins, we kind of saw you guys place similarly throughout the race. Were y'all working together at all?
Very loosely. I think there was this from some of the podcasts or social media. Everybody's like frenemies. It was more friends than enemies. After Italy, so we're in Petra. So they came in first, we came in second. We talked to each other. Hey, let's do what we can to help each other get first and second again. Obviously, it didn't happen that leg, but we were still somewhere. Amon happened. Will and Abby, that happened. So we all start at the same time. So we through Amon together all the way through the detour, and that was kind of planned. And so same thing happened in Dom, where we worked together to get to the castle. And I think we actually passed a couple of teams because we left that day. We left in the third group, and so we actually passed a couple of teams because we worked together to kind of plan and get there together. So it was like we'll work together until we get to a task, and if we leave at different times, then best team for themselves. But I actually spent some time with Molly after the show, so we hung out for a little while. So they're definitely our friends.
Oh, that's so good. You and your brother have a kind of a significant age difference, and you both have your careers. So spending this time together, racing together, what was this experience like for you?
Gosh, I think you're the first person to ask me that question. I mean, this is gonna sound probably corny. I think it was enlightening because we never the time we spend together. It's always catching up. Like, how's life? How's your career? Like, live in New Mexico. Like, how's like just the nature of where you live is different. And so, for a long time, Michael was single. I mean, he's not married, but he's like in a serious relationship now. So I'm asking him about like his dating life, right? So with this, it was like totally different. It was like we get to compete each other. I get to see you bring like the best of who you are to this thing, and I think maybe the same from Michael to me, and see each other in a different light that we've never seen each other as, right? Teammates.
Right. Yeah. Well, you guys were so fun to watch. Sorry you're not making it to the final, but I know we're going to see you back, and I wish you all the best in your life and everything coming up.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me on.